Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this meeting, which is just a short meeting for the parents or carers of Year 12 students, well, Year 11 students who hope to be Year 12 students in September, with a bit of information about joining Finland Park Sixth Form, which we hope they will look to do in September. Just a couple of bits of housekeeping. Firstly, this meeting is being recorded. So if you ask a question, which you're more than welcome to do, that question will appear on the recording, so just be aware of that. If you want to ask a question and you're not comfortable being on the recording, then there's an email address I'll put on the screen at the end, and you can email that email address separately. The recording will be circulated tomorrow for the benefit of parents or carers who cannot attend this meeting this afternoon. Secondly, a reminder, as per my email, the IT team at school have asked me to let you know that if you're on this meeting, you're giving consent for other people on the meeting to see anything on your Teams profile. Unfortunately, there's no way around that. That's just how Teams works. I presume that people won't be looking at each other's Teams profiles, but I've been asked to warn you that that is the case. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Bedford, the head teacher, who will give a brief introduction.
Good evening, everyone. As Susie has said, my name is David Bedford, and I have the huge privilege of being head teacher at Finland Park School. And it is a great privilege. And certainly over my first year here, I have got such a strong sense of community that we have in our school, and have seen firsthand how much of a part our sixth form students play in that. I do want to say well done at the outset on helping your children get through their GCSE exams. I'm sure for all of you that has come with its whole array of challenges, particularly for those who have gone through this exam season for the first time. So do take some time to pat yourselves on the back and we recognise it's a big achievement for students, but also the amount of work and care and anxiety that goes into being a parent during those exam season times. We have a fantastic sixth form at Finland Park. We have an amazing set of teachers who have decades of experience in quite a number of cases, actually, in teaching their subjects, and they're genuine subject specialists. We spend a lot of time supporting our students, and the students that were there today got a real insight into this in terms of helping them to be independent learners, to know how to work effectively on their own, and to set them up for whatever their future holds for them. Many of our students go on to study at university, but others go on to apprenticeships, directly into employment, and other exciting things as well. And it's really important at every stage in our sixth form, we prepare students for that. But student leadership is also a key part of what we offer. And I've been blown away, and I've had a wonderful opportunity this year to work very closely with a number of sixth form leaders to hear their ideas, and they genuinely make a real difference. One of the phrases that Ms. Green uses a lot is genuine agency, and we want our students to feel part and be part of our school and leave their legacy in terms of the changes that they make, and so many do. And the final thing I want to say and acknowledge is what a fantastic staff team we have leading the sixth form, led by Miss Green, with Miss Scoso, Mr. Shepherd, and the rest of their team as well. They do an absolutely incredible job in supporting the students in every possible way. The systems, the processes, everything that's in place, it seems to run like clockwork, and we see the impact of that in terms of the outcomes the students come out with, not just in terms of their exam results, but to me, even more importantly, in terms of the strength of the character and in what they are therefore able to go on to do. So I will have met a number of you already in person, and I hope to meet all of you at some point over the next couple of years. Do come up, introduce yourselves, and I look forward to supporting in whatever way it is in helping you and your child through the next part of their education with us. Back to you, Miss Green. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bedford. So as Mr. Bedford said, my name is Susie Green, and I have the privilege of running the sixth form. I've been head of sixth form for 5 years, and I've worked at Finland Park for 12. And head of sixth form is definitely the best job I've ever had. So a quick whiz through what we're going to look at today. Firstly, you've already had a welcome from Mr. Bedford. We're going to give you a bit of information about what we have done today. I'm very aware that some of your children will have told you about it in great detail, and some of them will have grunted. And so, depending on where your child is on that spectrum, we'll give you some information so that you can facilitate interesting conversations at home. We're going to talk to you about the key information given to students today, just in case any of that hasn't come through, what happens next, how we will manage communication with parents over the next 2 years, and what to do if you have any questions. So, because we want to keep this meeting short and concise and productive, we're keeping to key information. But if there's anything else that you would like to know, you feel you have not had answers to throughout the open evening or the prospectus or anything, there's an email address at the end of this meeting that you can just pop onto and ask any other questions. So today the students started with an assembly, and then after the assembly they did a carousel of different sessions throughout the day. They did a team building session that was an escape room run by my colleague Mr. Shepherd, and we intentionally mixed them up so we had children from lots of different schools, so hopefully they met some new friends through that. I did a session about the opportunities available, particularly those beyond the academic classroom, talking about things like enrichment opportunities, careers opportunities, the trips and visits we offer at Finham, the student leadership, things like that. They met some of the current head student team. And may I say, given that the current year 12s are on their exam leave for their end of year 12 exams, it was really lovely that some of them came back to talk to the students. They had a study skills session because, as you will understand, probably the biggest material change between year 11 and year 12 is the independent study periods that they have as part of their day. They had an induction in our library. Now, I know that a number of the children have been at Finham Park for 5 years, but the way they use the library at post 16 is quite different. So they had a library induction and then a session from our wellbeing officer about wellbeing at post 16. And they've all done all of those sessions on the carousel. Obviously, and most importantly, they've got a free ice cream at lunchtime. So I'm sure that's the first thing they will have told you. And that's definitely the main takeaway from today for most of them. But hopefully they found some of the other sessions helpful as well. So this is the key information that we have given them today. We've given them a lot of information today, and I've tried to pick out simply the most important salient points in terms of joining information to communicate now so that you're not lost in an overwhelming pile of information. So firstly, we have a business wear dress code, and I absolutely stand by this. The business wear dress code was introduced about 8 years ago, and the sixth form materially changed overnight in terms of the way students conducted themselves, felt about school. And having a business wear dress code really works in terms of making students step up and think really seriously about their sixth form education. Our dress code is completely gender neutral, and we've worked really hard to try and mirror the sort of dress codes that will happen in workplaces, in offices that have a formal dress code. I acknowledge that a number of offices don't, but we have got in contact with a number of offices locally and nationally that have a business wear dress code, and we've tried to mirror what they do in order to prepare students for what they may have to do if they go into an office environment in the future. The dress code is on the website and we do follow it fairly strictly, so please make sure that you read the dress code properly before you buy anything. We have asked that the students try to wear business wear this week. However, in acknowledgement of the fact that they may not have bought business wear because they may not have decided where to go in September, we are happy for them to wear casual clothes this week if that's what they've got, but we do ask that they wear the smarter end of casual just to make sure that it's appropriate for school. A few things to highlight, for example, with the business wear dress code: unless your child has a medical reason, we don't allow trainers, so make sure they've got some smart business wear shoes. For example, we ask students to be sensible about the amount of coverage they're allowed to wear. Smart skirts, they need to be a reasonable length, and all the details are on the website. So in preparation for September, please do speak to your child about getting some appropriate clothing so they can hit the ground running. And as I said, please do read the website properly. In terms of equipment, we ask students to provide the following equipment for September. So we ask them to provide one folder per subject. I don't really have a preference of whether they would like to keep their folders electronically, so a number of them bring a device, a tablet or something, and they keep their lesson notes filed electronically, or paper folders. But I do recommend that they have the facility for paper folders at each subject, because they will be given things like worksheets that they can't store electronically. So whether that's a ring binder or a smaller folder, I recommend they have one folder per subject that they can store their paper notes in. With that, they will need file dividers. It's absolutely essential they're organised from the beginning. And they'll also need paper. Now, again, if they're doing the notes electronically, they will need less paper than if they're doing all their notes on paper, clearly. But it is sensible for all of them to have a pad of paper because there'll be times they need to write. If they are doing a subject like maths, they might want some squared paper, for example. And this week during the subject inductions, each individual subject will talk to the students about what sort of paper they will need. But at the very least, it would be sensible for students to come equipped in September with a pad of lined paper. With that, I haven't written it on this list because it should be quite obvious, but they'll need things like pens and pencils to write with. We recommend that students have access to a device, if possible, that is not their mobile phone. You will be familiar, I'm sure, with the climate of the nation in terms of access to mobile phones by way of devices. And whilst year 12 and 13 are not going down the same route as the main school in terms of a complete ban on devices, we strongly encourage students to do their studying on devices that are not mobile phones, because we're all very, very clear on the dangers of excessive mobile phone usage and the fact that mobile phone usage is very, very distracting, as well as the fact that students, if they are going to use a device for their studies, need a big screen. And so it's very helpful for students to have access to a device that's not a phone. We do have a bank of laptops available to borrow in school, and we have a full computer suite that students can use during the school day. So if you're not able to get a device, absolutely don't panic. There is facility for them to use it in school, but we don't have facility to lend 400 devices to the whole sixth form. So it would be sensible for your child to have an access to one if possible. Just a note on that. We've found, and I don't know why, and our IT team can't get to the bottom of why, that Chromebooks don't connect particularly well to our school network. So if you haven't already bought a device and you're planning to do so, I'd be grateful if you could just avoid Chromebooks. As I said, I don't know why. The IT team have tried to investigate and they can't give me a reason, but apparently Chromebooks just don't work super well on our system. Students will need some sort of diary or planner. We don't specify what this looks like, but they will need to record their homework and their coursework. There are lots and lots of electronic solutions to this if they want to use an app, which they can put on their laptop or on their tablet, or they can buy a paper diary from somewhere like WH Smith's or Amazon. And then they will have the opportunity, where needed, to purchase things like calculators and textbooks from school through our portal called Parent Pay from September. So it is likely that teachers this week will speak to students about the textbooks they'll need for September, so they'll be aware of what they will need to buy when they join us in September. We do have a bank of textbooks in school again, and so if purchasing a textbook will be a problem, we have copies we can lend for every subject, but we don't have enough for everyone for every subject. So it is sensible to purchase one if you're able to. So school will start for year 12 on Thursday, the 3rd of September. And that's a really, really special day because only year 7 and year 12 are in that on that day. That should say year 13 join on the Friday. I apologise, I don't know why that says Thursday. But year 12 will be in school on the Thursday. And the beauty of that is they'll have the whole of the sixth form space to themselves, and the main school building will be quiet. Whereas today they had the sixth form building to themselves, but most of the main school were in, so it was quite busy. We'd like them to arrive at school in time for 8:45 in the morning and meet outside T block. They all know where that is now because T block is the sixth form block, and they spent the day then. We will at that point split them up into their mentor groups, which will be their pastoral groups. They'll all have a pastoral leader, a pastoral teacher, who will support them throughout the 2 years they're at Finham Park. And they'll, where possible, would be with the same mentor for 2 years, and they will meet their mentor, who will escort them to their mentor room. And during the morning they'll have an assembly, spend some time with their mentor doing some getting to know you activities, and then they'll have lessons in the afternoon. The other thing is they'll get the opportunity for a tour of the school. So today they all saw T block and all of the T block spaces, But today, because all of the main school children were in, they weren't able to have a tour of all the rest of the school. That will be able to happen on that day because it's only year 7 and 12 in. And a number of the lessons for the sixth form will happen outside the sixth form space. For example, science lessons happen in science labs as an example. And so students will be able to see where their classrooms are, and they will finish at 3:15. So that's what that day should look like. Now, expectations. Firstly, and I want to be absolutely clear on this from the beginning, our expectation is that students who are in year 12 are in school from 8:45 until 3:15 p.m. Very rarely we have exceptions to that for medical reasons, but unless you have a very serious medical condition that means that won't work, and that's something we've already been talking about, our expectation is that students in year 12 are full-time students. We have a bit of flexibility with that in year 13, but again, we didn't used to do this, and we changed it 5 years ago, and the results went up very significantly because students in school, we're able to keep an eye on them, we support them with their studying, whereas if they're able to go home, we find that they often don't have the discipline they need to really study carefully. We ask students, as I've already mentioned, to follow the dress code on the website, and that includes particularly wearing a lanyard. So because the students are in business wear rather than a school uniform, for for safeguarding reasons, they have to wear a lanyard because it identifies them. Otherwise, they could be seen as strangers on the site, which is not okay for a school. And we ask them to use their study time and facilities appropriately. So really, that's very sensible. We don't have a long list of rules and expectations. The reason is we're a sixth form. All the students in the sixth form are either adults or moving towards adulthood. And we ask them just to behave courteously with sensible, respectful behaviour. And that's all we ask. And as long as they do that, we are happy. As I said, the only really firm expectation we set in year 12 is we want them in full time. The reasons for that are very clear, and I'm very happy to go through the numbers with you if anyone has any questions about that. But trust me, I absolutely stand by the fact that that is the best for the students. So those are the expectations and really what they should prepare themselves for doing when they come to us in September. So the bursary, this is a really important one. This is the equivalent of the free school meals programme for students in the sixth form. So students who are financially eligible, in other words, who there's a financial threshold that you can apply for, are entitled to both free school meals in the way you were in the main school. So you get the free food through the school canteens, but also are entitled to access to a pot of money, excuse me, that can be spent on educational equipment or resources. So that could be businessware, that could be a device. We can buy a laptop or a tablet for you. That could be access to a school trip. It could be textbooks. It could be pens and pencils. Anything that you need for your studies. It could be a bus pass or transport to enable you to get to school. If there's something that you need for your studies, you will have a pot of money each year which you can access. We do make the purchases, but if you tell us what you want, we will purchase that for you if you're eligible for the bursary. So if money is a bit of a struggle and you're sat there worrying about purchasing business wear, for example, do not worry. Contact Mrs. Foster. The email address is on the screen, and she will be able to talk to you about whether you're eligible for the bursary. And if you are, in some cases, for example, we can even purchase business wear for you before you start so that you've got something to wear on the first day. So if money is a barrier to you accessing our provision at Finham Park Sixth Form, then please don't let it worry you. We will support you with it. Now, results day is on the 20th of August, as I'm sure you very, very well know. What you'll need to do first is collect your results from school. Now, when I say internal students, what I mean is students who've attended Finham from year 7 to year 11. I will already have your results because we get them the day before, and so you don't need to upload those to Applica. We already know what they are. If you've met the entrance criteria for the subjects you want to do, and by the way, it's absolutely fine if you've changed your mind. If you've changed your mind about subjects, you just enroll on the day through Applica. If you've met the entrance criteria for the subjects you want to do, then you just log on to Applica, you do your enrolment, and you're in. If you have missed the criteria, then what you do is you enter an enrolment inquiry on Applica and you will receive a phone call and we will finalise your options. We will likely still accept you, but you might have to do different subjects. External students who've done your GCSEs at a different school, the first thing you will have to do is you will have to get your results from your school. Now, we don't have a copy of your results, so I don't know how you've done. And so you will enroll on Applica, but as part of the process, you will have to upload your results along with evidence of your results. So take a photo of your results statement and upload it. Please make sure it's a clear photo, it's not fuzzy, nothing like that. Otherwise, we won't be able to verify your grades. And then we will contact you by telephone or email to finalise your place. Just a heads up that today's students had a session about all of the enrichments available, and they are going to have to choose their options on that day. In advance, you will receive an email outlining those options, so please just keep an eye out for that. So that's a bit of basic joining information and key information to prepare you for September. Now, the rest of this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, these are subject inductions. So firstly, do bring a device if you have one, no problem. If you don't, that's fine. We have plenty we can lend you. And if you're planning to attend the music taster session, please bring your musical instrument. Then on Friday, there are one-to-one appointments available for students and parents and carers who would like additional support. There are still some slots, so if you would like a one-to-one, then please email Mrs. Hosking. These are well-being focused for students who think they might need some extra support. Just email the email address on the screen to book yourself an appointment. A bit of housekeeping regarding the rest of this week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the induction sessions are either the morning or the afternoon. So students can either arrive at school during 8:45 till 9:15 to sign in, or 12:35 to 1:15 to sign in. Those are our sign-in times. And they can either leave at the end of the day as usual, or they can leave at lunchtime, so 12:35 to 1:15. But if they leave at lunchtime, it's absolutely essential that we have the consent slip because they're not quite sixth form age yet, we need parental consent to release them. They've all been given a paper copy today and you were all emailed a copy. So just make sure that they fill in that form if you want them to leave at lunchtime any day this week. Then over the summer holiday, so during this week, students will be set summer assignments. They're also available on the sixth form website. So if you go onto the Finham Park sixth form website, there will be a summer assignment for each subject. So between now and GCSE results day, students need to start working on their summer assignments. Then on GCSE results day, they will enrol during Applica. Please remember they're going to need an appropriate photo. They're going to be asked to sign the homeschool agreement. We will provide more information about this a couple of weeks in advance, but just a heads up that it's coming. And then after results day, when they've enrolled, there's another opportunity for one-to-one appointments with the sixth form team with students for special educational needs, learning differences, wellbeing concerns. And once you've enrolled, you can book one of those if you want. And then Thursday, the 3rd of September, is the first day of term. So that's a bit of a timeline of what's happening over the next few weeks, building up to the September start. So, in terms of communication with parents, we try and communicate with parents as regularly as we can. The reality is, with 200 students per year, there are a lot of you, but we try and communicate as well as we can. So there's a weekly parent newsletter. We have regular online meetings like this, probably once a half term, with lots of different focuses. I know there's one coming up in the autumn term about careers, for example, and we encourage as many parents as possible to join those meetings to keep up with what's going on. We have a sixth form YouTube channel. I put most of my assemblies that I deliver on that YouTube channel. So if you find that YouTube channel, you'll be able to get a bit of an idea of what we're about. The MCAS parent app, MCAS stands for My Child at School, is a parent app, and you'll get lots of communication through that. You'll be able to monitor your child's attendance, things like that. Then there'll be emails, telephone calls, and meetings as required. And your first port of call will be your child's mentor. There's going to be a Meet the Mentor event early in September, and you'll be able to come in and have a face-to-face meeting with your child's mentor then. And dates will be sent out when finalised, with a few weeks to go. So just be aware of that. Now, finally, today we spoke to students about blockings. What we've done is we've taken all the applications we've had and we've done a best fit to please the most people. The way this works is students can choose up to one subject per block. So block A, for example, all of the subjects in block A run at the same time. All of the subjects in block B run at the same time, and so on. So a student couldn't do two subjects from block A. They couldn't do two subjects from block B. They could do up to one from each block. Now, the large majority of students are able to do their first choice, and we've managed to fit it quite nicely. However, there are a few students who can't do their first choice at Finham. So their options are they can pick again if they want, or we can send them to another school through the Coventry Consortium. Every school in Coventry has exactly the same timetable for post-16. What that means, for example, so block A, all of block A lessons are Monday morning and Thursday afternoon. So if you want to do two subjects if you want to do a subject that you can't do at Finham Park School and it's in block A somewhere else, we will provide taxis to send you to that other school on Monday morning and Thursday afternoon, so that you can do the subjects that you want to do. So if there's a clash or you're a bit worried that your child won't be able to do exactly what they want to do, absolutely don't panic, but book a one-to-one on Friday and we'll have that conversation with you. A heads up that this blocking is subject to change. It won't be final until the 20th of August, but this is what we're anticipating it looking like. So that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour of key information. If you've got any questions, I'm happy to take some on the chat, but a reminder, as I said at the beginning, that the chat will be recorded, so it'll appear on the recording. You can send an email to the email address on the screen, either with a query, or you can request a one-to-one meeting or telephone call if there's something you want to talk through. So I really hope that was helpful. I've kept it limited intentionally because I don't want to overwhelm you with information, but that should give you a good idea of joining information for your child in September. And if you've got any further questions, either pop them in the chat or email the email address on the screen. So Applica is the website that you applied through. You can find a link to it on the sixth form website. So if you go to apply, students who attended Finham Park sixth form, Finham Park School in year 11 will have an account. The details have been sent to your school email address. If you didn't attend Finham Park in year 11, you'll have to register for an account. But once you're on the website, you can log in and out quite easily. Are there any more questions to pop in the chat? Yes and no. So the passport, if your child has a pupil passport in year 11, that will get automatically transferred to the sixth form teachers. However, we like to update it because, excuse me, we like to update it because the style of learning is so different in the sixth form. So our recommendation is that once you've enrolled on the 20th of August, you book a one-to-one with Mrs. Hosking in the week following to come in. We'll start with your existing pupil passport and make any changes, and then the updated version will go to your teachers. If your child didn't attend Finham in year 11 and they have a special educational needs passport or plan, we recommend you make a one-to-one after the enrolment, bring the plan from your existing school, and then we will update it and amend it for you. Yes, this presentation has been recorded. I'm going to send out the recording tomorrow to everybody on this call, but also everybody who's applied for the sixth form, so you will get this information to refer to. Are there any further questions? Yes, absolutely. Attend as many taster sessions as you want, and it doesn't matter if you haven't signed up for all of them. So hang on. Yes, so that's that one. So you won't pick the subjects from each block until results day. When you get to GCSE results day, the blocking, whatever it is at that time, because as I said, what I've shown you is likely to be final, but there is a possibility it will change. The blocking will appear on Applica, and you will select the subjects you want to do through Applica. Yes, absolutely. You can have a one-to-one session on Friday, even if you don't have special educational needs. Contact Mrs. Hosking and she'll book you an appointment. There's a hand up.
Yeah, sorry, that's me. Just a question on the blocking. When you've got like biology or maths and there's two of them, you're only choosing one of those. You don't have to have a block C and block E, for argument's sake.
Correct. So those are the subjects that are the most popular, meaning we need 2 or 3 classes, and that actually will give you flexibility. So the only exception is the BTEC Science. The BTEC Science is in 2 blocks, and because it's a double, you need to do it in block A and block B, but every other subject you pick once.
So as long as you've got 1 in each block, that doesn't matter. That's all you need. One in each block. You can't have more than. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Yes, and your child won't probably have 1 in every block because they will probably choose 3, but they can have up to 1 in each block. Any block they don't have subjects in, they'll have study periods. Yes, absolutely. If a consortium student's registered with another school, they are more than welcome to attend taster sessions with us this week. Everyone's welcome. Can you only take science? Sorry. Science BTEC is a double, so has to be taken in block A and block B. There used to be capacity for it being done as a single or a double, but the exam board discontinued that. So at the moment, unfortunately, it can only be taken as a double, and that's because of the way the qualification works. There's another hand up.
Hello there. Sorry, yeah, that was me. I tried to send a chat, it just wasn't sending it for some reason. In terms of the Applica completing that once the results are in, if you were away on annual leave or something, what's the time scale for when's that need to be done by?
So there's no deadline, but it comes down to the fact that some courses have limited spaces, and so I'd recommend the sooner the better. Insofar as Applica opens at 8 o'clock on the results day. Now we won't fill in the first few hours, but if you left it 3 days, we might be full. My recommendation, so Applica is internet based, so as long as you can access the internet, you can do Applica from anywhere in the world. And if you need to take a phone call from us, we can phone you over Microsoft Teams if needed. So again, as long as you've got access to the internet, we can be flexible with that. So my recommendation is that you, even if you're somewhere across the world, set an alarm and just fill in Applica at 8, and then go back to sleep. At least that'll secure your place.
Apologies for my ignorance. Do the results get emailed out as well then, GCSE results?
Did your child attend Finham Park or a different school? Yes, so at Finham Park, the results are released on the student portal in the same way as the reports and progress checks. So your child will receive them online from 8 o'clock. They have the option of coming in and getting a paper copy as well. But if you're away, they'll access them on the app. As I said, because your child attends Finham, we will already have them. And so they just have to go on and pick their subjects on Applica.
Thank you.
No problem at all. Right. So the question about the sessions today, we're not rerunning the sessions today, but I will circulate the presentations. And yes, someone absolutely will help them. So if you've got a child who's anxious and worried about the size of the school, that is completely valid. Finham Park is a very big sixth form. There are lots of advantages that come with that. There are loads of opportunities. It's busy, it's buzzy. There's so much going on. It's really fun. But I understand people are worried about that. My recommendation is if you're available, you book a one-to-one on Friday. We can give you a tour, talk you through everything you missed today, and really hopefully set your mind at rest about any of those worries. Right, are there any more questions? It doesn't look like there are any more questions, so I'll just hang around on the call for another minute, but I suggest we call it a day there. And if you've got any questions that you've not asked, email the email address on the screen and we will get back to you. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to meeting lots of you in September.